I think one thing we can get out of the way right now is that the Epstein files and that entire operation is not a hoax. I'm not sure why the president would call it a hoax, like just blatantly call it a hoax, as if he didn't have members of his intelligence community, his Department of Justice, the FBI, and other people telling him that this is an actual operation. Now, whether Trump is actually part of it or not remains to be seen, but he calls it a hoax. And then House Speaker Mike Johnson comes out a couple days ago and says the only reason Trump is in the files is because he was an FBI informant. So he was an FBI informant this entire time against Epstein, but yet now as a president wants to say that it's a hoax, a Democratic hoax. We're not going to cover all the reasons why it's not a hoax, but let's just say at this point that between Tulsi Gabbard, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and a few others, it's too late to call it a hoax. Too late. That's like your own family snitching on you and then you trying to say, no, that's not what happened, dog. So it's not a hoax, but why would he call it a hoax? That's the real question. He's in the files. His name has been redacted a million times. Not literally, but still. And now the shift is that he was an FBI informant. If he was an FBI informant on Epstein, and that's true, Epstein would have been locked away years ago. Like not even the sweetheart deal with the work release. He would have been in the deepest dungeons of hell. Also, if he was an FBI informant, then he would have had impunity. At the minimum, whatever charges or whatever they had on Trump back then with the plea deal would have been pretty much swept under the carpet. He could still be president today, despite admitting to what he did in the past and then striking a plea deal with the FBI or whoever to now become an informant. So why the cloak and dagger? Why the mirror and the smoke, the screening? I don't understand. Why not just come out and say, yes, you know, I was with him, whatever, this is what happened, but then I turned on him because I knew this was wrong. And so I worked with our Department of Justice, our FBI, to help put this guy in jail. Well, then what happened to that? What happened to all your informing? Where'd it go? We don't see it. So if you would have worked with the FBI as an informant, that means that you probably were guilty of something, and then that you would have to plea deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI now making you an informant. And maybe not full impunity, but whatever it was that you were going to pay or get punished for, that was going to get brushed under the carpet too. So we need to see documents, otherwise it's bullshit. The claim of a hoax is bullshit. Now you have the Epstein survivors who have come out in public and said that they have a list. They're going to release this list in due time. The problem is if they say names now, they're probably going to get sued. However, that's okay because what this does is two things. One, it delegitimizes Trump's hoax claim, and then it also empowers this whole Epstein thing to keep going. It's almost like it's re-energized now because what they want is for this thing to completely go away, for you to stop talking about it. But now that the survivors have come forward, it's just been recharged. Second, you have a Republican, Thomas Massie from Kentucky, a Democrat, Ro Khanna, who should be good for everybody, right? Both sides are being represented. They want transparency into the Epstein files, and they have teamed up to basically do some kind of petition that forces the House to vote on the Epstein Transparency Act or something like that. This is also good. I mean, Thomas Massie to me is like what an American politician and what a true American is supposed to be. Now, you don't have to agree with everything this man does, but he is literally going as hard as he can against the grain. Not only against Trump, but also against Zionism, AIPAC, Israel, all of that. And he's doing right by us, and we should support him. And whether you care about Ro Khanna or not, you need to support them as a team. But now you're getting a lot of pushback from Trump's people, Mike Johnson, the House Speaker. I mean, everything from calling Thomas Massie an insurgent, a traitor to his country, to trying to primary him in the midterms. I mean, this is a man who represents America who's getting primaried because he's trying to look out for Americans. That's crazy to me. But you have all this pushback, and then you have Mike Johnson that's over here calling this a hostile act against the Trump administration. I mean, what the fuck? That is so insane to me. Look, the bottom line is at this point, it is without a doubt the Epstein operation was an intelligence gathering operation who also used it as a honeypot to blackmail our politicians and other political figures and corporate figures to then use it as a way to either push or create an agenda that would then benefit Israel or Israelis or just Zionists in general. And they did it through the ways of women, sexualizing women, enslaving them, pedophilia, and then getting all these people trapped. At this point, it is irrefutable. Now we need to back whoever in our politics wants to seek transparency. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, Lorena Boebert, whatever her name is, and maybe some more Republicans that'll finally get on board to make something happen and get some justice for the victims of the Epstein files.